Welcome back, everybody, to your new favorite sports podcast, Changing the Game. I am your host, Caden. On today's episode, we have a very special interview. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the future, the up-and-comers to professional wrestling, Trent and Tyler Levy, the Regulators. Welcome, everybody, to the show.
Thank you very much. It's an honor.
Absolutely.
So, you guys did say this is your first podcast.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, by the way.
Thank you very much. We're very excited to be here.
Love that. How do you guys feel about being on your first podcast?
I'll start. I honestly, we were talking up here. I had told Tyler that we were talking beforehand, and you were saying something about getting jitters and stuff like that. And we were both talking, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to have any jitters. But then when you sit there and you got the lights in front of you, it's kind of a surreal thing. You're like, oh, I'm getting interviewed now. So it's cool, but it's really exciting. And I'm glad we get to do it with you and, someone that we have a connection with and stuff like that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. I was not, worried coming up here, but sitting here now, yeah, definitely a little bit of a nervous thing, but I think I'll make it through.
It's a different atmosphere.
It really
sure.
is.
100%.
So I guess we'll start now. What was the biggest part of your guys' life going into wrestling? Like, when you guys grew up, how was it around family and all that?
We've always had a very tight family, especially my brother and I included. We were always close. We weren't necessarily, bonded like we are now. But the past, when I turned 12?
Yeah, when you were about 8th grade, we really got close and found a lot of similar interests and able to make a connection a little deeper than what we had before. As kids, we didn't really always see eye to eye like most siblings do. Yeah. But we ended up making it work.
And that was before wrestling. And you actually ended up getting me back into wrestling at a certain point, and that just made that bond even deeper.
Yeah.
And, then we started deciding to train, and then it was just taking off from there.
Growing up, did you guys have any wrestlers that influenced you guys to be a professional wrestler?
Yeah, 100%. So I tell this story all the time. My dad introduced me to wrestling. He's our manager, Papa Levy.
Shout out Papa Levy.
Shout out Papa Levy. But he introduced me to wrestling when, as early as I can remember. But the first pay-per-view I remember was watching Shawn Michaels versus John Cena at WrestleMania 23. And ever since then, I've just been an absolute huge Shawn Michaels guy, and everything Shawn Michaels has done, I've went back and watched countless hours of old footage and stuff like that. So if there's truly an inspiration behind anything I'm doing, it is Shawn Michaels.
For me as a kid growing up, it was always Randy Orton. Everyone loved John Cena, but I liked the menacing heel that was Randy Orton, taking out the family and everything else like that. I thought it was just crazy the way he was moving. But honestly, I'd say Daniel Bryan was my biggest one, because the whole Connor the Crusher thing, man, that has a special place in my heart and always will. I think any non-wrestling fan that sees that, it'll bring him to tears. But
yeah, best WrestleMania moment ever, 100%.
Yeah, definitely up there. Being brothers, how does it impact your guys' chemistry in the ring?
I think it actually makes it so much better than, not to say, other tag teams don't have great chemistry, but we're able to talk and work on a deeper level in a different way that I don't think other teams are necessarily able to get to. And we are able to go home, and if we're sitting there at home and we're like, hey, this would be a cool sequence, we can stand up and start working through the sequence and stuff like that. And we have that bond that's going to hold us through things. And, we're not going to be tied through envy and greed some tag teams get led up to do. So
yeah, I would like to add to that. I would say both of us, at being brothers, we just want to see each other succeed. There's nothing like he wants to be better than me, I want to be better than him. We want to be great together,
Right.
We want to elevate each other. And I think, part of the thing that helps with that is, we growing up our whole lives together, we're able to kind of communicate without even having to speak. So things in the ring, we can kind of communicate that back and forth to each other really fast. And, things like training, if he messes me up and I mess him up, it's not going to be a grudge thing, we're just trying to learn right now. So
Right. Do you guys have any disagreements when you guys are training together, or
Yeah, sometimes I get a little upset because Tyler will be telling me that I could do something a different way. And I get kind of frustrated with it because I'm very critical with myself in the ring because wrestling is everything to me. And I want to be known as, a great and everything. So everything I do, I'm always super critical. And sometimes he's either a little like he adds some critics to it or he tells me not to freak out about it. But either way, I'm already super critical of myself. So then when he says it, I'm just rude about it.
Yeah, I try my best to be calm, cool, and collected, especially, in a wrestling setting.
Yeah.
And things like training, if we make mistakes, I mean, that's the reason we're in training,
Mistakes happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason, making mistakes, it's something that everyone's going to do. And like he said, he's critical. I'm critical with myself too, but more watching it, rewatching it, and finding different things in film. He's critical on the spot, and I try to, calm him down and keep him level-headed. So we definitely have some disagreements, but for the most part, it lasts very, 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
We fight more with setting up the ring than anything else, honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, you guys did say your dad is your manager, correct?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
absolutely.
So does he ever have a disagreement with you guys training, or does he get in the way or anything?
Papa Levy
Yeah.
loves everything,
I was
man.
about
He's
to
so
say.
excited about it. He tells us all the time, he's whatever I can do to help you guys, just let me know. Whatever you think is best, just let me know. He already got a guy, he's been talking to multiple guys, trying to make shirts, trying to make coasters, trying to do anything. So Papa Levy's the man, no problems with him, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. And he does, we do our YouTube channel, we have our vlog, and he helps with that. He does a lot of the recording. He does interviews with some of the guys and girls inside SCW. So it's cool to have him on hand and just have him basically supporting us with anything we do. Right now we're both in college. We're both also doing wrestling and working at the same time. So sometimes money isn't exactly the easiest thing to come by. So having Papa Levy there to help us when we absolutely need it is 100% a blessing.
That's one thing I learned when I went to a wrestling school. Money is a huge investment for professional wrestling.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, we got, kind of lucky. I'm not going to get too into detail about it, but the people we're working with, we actually kind of were able to knock down some pricing of what maybe your traditional wrestling school would be through, helping out with the company and stuff like that. But, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not a large expense because it still very much is.
Yeah, if you're ever planning on getting into it, you definitely want to have some savings put back because, living paycheck to paycheck with it is just absolutely not ideal. And, you got things that you got to worry about from, first of all, your training cost, travel, food, then you got your gear on top of everything else.
Yep.
And so, there's a lot that goes into it money-wise. Yeah, it's definitely expensive when you break it down.
And you guys are also in college doing it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that I could only imagine the stress with that.
Yeah, especially like we were talking, I think it was not the last show, but the show before. It was a Saturday night, and for some reason, my professor had given me homework, and I didn't even realize, and I was stressing because we were getting the ring tore down at 11 o'clock. The assignment's due at midnight. We got a 40-minute drive back, and Tyler's over there like, just do it in the car, man. And I'm freaking out, but we make it work.
Yeah, like Trent said, we got some of our money knocked down for helping set up stuff and take down stuff. So, I feel obligated to stay until it's all taken down. Some guys don't necessarily stay the whole time, but it feels, you helped me out, so I should help be there. I'm paying my dues right now. And like he said, he had homework that he found out about last second. So we're sitting there, rushing through it, and he's freaking out. And I'm like, you're just going to have to do it in the car, man. Like, we're not making it home any quicker. There's no computers here. So, you just got to figure it out.
So now going into the ring, I know you guys are getting ready for a debut coming up, right?
Hopefully, yep.
So with the training and all that, how would you guys describe your style in professional wrestling?
I'd like to describe my style. It's hard for me to say like exactly what it is. I like a mix of a technical wrestler and a mix of high flying. So just for like kind of a reference off that, my favorite or like my inspiration for wrestling is mostly AJ Styles because, he's a guy that can sit there and he can chain wrestle with you for 15 minutes if he needs to, or he can put a ladder on top of a cage and jump through a table. Like he just got the whole package, man. So I like to find that, heavy or not heavy, but that solid mix between high flying and technician.
Yeah, for me, he's definitely got me in the athletic department. So he's definitely more of a high flyer than I am. I might bust out a moonsault, something a little crazy here or there, but he's definitely got me in that regard. So for me, right now, I'm really working on technical wrestling. Like he said, technical is what I think is going to be my best part of my in-ring ability is my technical stuff. And I'm also trying to learn submissions through different forms of martial arts and stuff like that. I've been watching a lot of videos trying to learn different submissions that I can implement into professional wrestling.
Don't let him fool you, though. Tyler Levy's got a mean moonsault.
I know. I saw the video.
Yeah.
He's pretty nice with it. Now, with that being said, if you had to pick a finishing move, what would your finishing move be?
So I don't know if we're necessarily allowed to just steal moves, but every move is technically done in inspiration of someone else. So another big inspiration for me is Seth Rollins. So I'm doing a little variation of the curb stomp with a mix of a little springboard in it. There's talks of me maybe doing a 450 springboard stomp, but that's in the works. We'll have to.
We've been practicing that one. We got the 450 down. We just got to get the stomp down with it now. Then I think that could be something that he could break out in big matches. That's not something you're going to see every show because first of all, your guy that you're facing, they're watching your film, so you don't want them to know what you're doing. So you got to worry about that, and you don't want to put it on every show because then you face injuries and things like that. You got to save some of those bigger moments for the right timing. But for my finisher, actually for my first 2 matches that we had in training, I used the GTS as my finisher.
Awesome.
I'm not entirely sure I'm going to keep it. I like it. It's just, and I think I can hit it well. It's just, I have a couple different ideas. I was thinking some sort of face breaker off of, like holding the arms and stepping on their back, and something like that. I was thinking about that. I've also, like I said, with submissions, I've been thinking there's a couple different submissions that I've been looking at. So I'm not entirely sure what my finisher is yet, but just know when it happens, it's going to be something cool.
So outside of the professional wrestling world, obviously there's a lot of training that goes involved with it. What does a normal training day look like for you guys?
So I usually orchestrate our workouts because bodybuilding has always been a big thing to me. I was picked on a lot for being skinny when I was a kid and was always just super insecure. So the gym became a big thing for me around 8th grade. So I've done all my studies and everything like that on the muscle building and all that. So I've done bodybuilding for years, but here recently I've actually changed up our training style because, in a wrestling ring, you're not sitting there just hitting curls and then flexing for everybody. You're sitting there, you're getting hit, you're going on to the next thing. So honestly, we do a lot more circuit workouts now to make sure we're able to go and able to do stuff for a long period of time. So it usually involves like med ball slams, rows, stuff like that. I don't know. I'll let you explain because you don't necessarily like them.
He puts me through the ringer, man. So, I played high school football and I worked out a lot then. Mainly my legs because I was an offensive lineman, so I just did, the small things that I had to do to be good at playing football.
Right.
Well, I graduated back in 2020 and I kind of stepped away from the gym, I got kind of lazy and, I started working and, life happens and, you stop doing certain things. And here recently, Trent's really been getting me in gear and making sure I go to the gym at least once a week, but I've been trying to go multiple times. It, still life, like I said, job, college, wrestling, it adds up, but he's been getting me in there. And when I do get in there, he hits me with some absolute brutal workouts, man. Like I'm telling you, these circuits are no joke.
And that's the thing. Like I would do when I did my bodybuilding training, I would lift every day for 2 hours a day. But now I do these circuit workouts. It knocks me down for a couple of days after I do one before I can go in and get to another one.
Yeah, I get so sore after those things, man. I don't even know if I can make it tomorrow.
So obviously, I know you guys have this debut and all that. I don't know, for training, do you have any, funny stories for traveling wise or anything like that?
Oh boy.
Well, okay. So I'll start with one story. So some of the people that from our channel that have been following along watched me destroy a wrestling ring last weekend. We were setting up the ring and, we're sitting in there and we're running the ropes and I go to, he runs the ropes and he, talks about how the ropes are still a little stiff. So our trainer's like, all right, well, Tyler, you get in there and see how you think the ropes feel. And I hit it one way and I come back the other way. And as I hit it, the chain that holds the corners together on the bottom of the ring snapped in half. And all the ropes came down and were dragging down. His reaction, man, he was so unsure of what was going on.
I couldn't believe what just happened. I thought we were screwed, man. I was like, he just broke what we're doing. Like, I don't know where to go from here.
Luckily it happened to us like on a training day instead of like during the show. Like if that would have happened during a match, I don't know what we would have done necessarily. But yeah, luckily it happened during training, and it took us most of the night to get that fixed too. So it ended up like we really didn't get to train much that night. We got in for maybe 20 minutes, but then the next day, we came in early, so we got about 4 or 5 hours of training that day to make up for it.
I'll just say there's multiple different stories. I don't know if it's, every wrestler that has to deal with it or whatnot, but I deal with the problem hitting my cojones in the ring a lot, whether it's taking a face bump off of something and, hitting myself below the belt, or, there was a time we were training outside and it was out at our trainer's house. And I can't remember what we were doing, ring exits or something like that. And I thought
it was over the top. Like
I thought I was hot stuff, and I jumped and did something, and I just came straight down, split-legged on the top rope, and I couldn't walk for 15 minutes. So, other than that, I also wanted to say, I don't know if this constitute is funny, but there's a wrestler that works for the company SCW. His name's Ampo, and he just constantly hits me with random things out of nowhere while we're training, and I actually find it kind of hilarious. Like at the last show, he just ran. I was doing the skin the cat thing, like where, you go outside the ropes and do a sit up back in.
Yeah.
He didn't like that I was doing that for some reason. So he gave me a mean chop followed by a package pile driver. And I was like, dude. And he just goes, yeah. So, it's always a fun time out there.
Ampo's a vet. So Ampo, he's definitely not going to hurt anyone,
He knows what he's doing.
But yeah, like we were talking on the way up here, man, really with funny stories, there's countless I can sit here and say. SCW locker room, ever since we've got a chance to start reffing and actually get back there with the guys, it's the highlight of our months. It's
really
always
is.
so fun to sit back there and just, you shoot the crap with the different guys back there and
getting to pick the minds of the people back there, because there's some dudes back there with some, serious experience and have been, a lot of places and have a lot of connections. So getting there and, getting that knowledge while also getting to have a good time and make connections and stuff like that. It's really a special thing there.
Yeah, 100%.
So I remember when I tried out, my mentality, I was always just like a nervous guy. I don't like to be in like a big crowd and do something new.
Right.
It's just something I don't like to do. But what is your guys' like mentality getting ready for a match or even just a training day?
Well, so when I first started, I had always wanted to be a wrestler when I was a kid, right? And Trent kind of got out of it, and I thought, I'll never do it. I'll try to, get in wrestling. Maybe I can be a referee. Maybe I can be a commentator, something like that. And when I finally got him back into it and he came to me with the idea of starting to train, I was like, yes, absolutely. Let's get behind it. So basically my first time going in there, I knew we were going to do whatever it took to, make it happen. Basically, like we both do everything we can for, making wrestling our main part in life. And now I just say every time I go in there, I'm so excited to get in there every chance we get. And we both come up with list of moves that we want to do on each other. And we'll text for days at a time talking about, different, like his 450. He probably texted me 500 times talking about how he wanted to hit me with the 450. And I finally let him hit it, and it got him out of his system. And now he knows he can do it. And so our mentality is basically just, we know we can do it. We just it might take us a few times to get it.
And for me, my big thing is not to straight up steal from Iron Claw, but, Kevin Von Erich in that movie, or Zac Efron, tells the girl that he's with that the most important thing to him is, just being out there with his brother. And that's really what it is for me, because through all my life and all the hardships I've been through with breakups, mental health issues, schooling, stuff like that, my brother's always been, my backbone. Excuse me. But brother's always been my backbone. So just getting out there and being able to do my childhood dream and getting able to experience that with my brother it's surreal, and I'll never be able to fully grasp that I'm actually getting to do that.
That's awesome. Now, obviously, there's a lot of time for you guys. You guys are up-and-comers to this professional wrestling world. In the next 5 years, do you have a mindset where you guys want to be at?
I know where I want to be at. We've been through SCW right now. We love SCW. SCW will always be our home. We've talked about that. But we've had some other companies that have also reached out to us. Usually in professional wrestling, especially at the indie level, it's the guys who reach out to them. So for some companies to reach out to us is kind of big news. At least, yeah, I was about to say, at least in our part. So we're just going to keep doing that. And we have good connections. We have a friend going to Canada. So we have some good connections right now. And hopefully within 5 years, maybe we're not quite going to Canada, but at least hopefully we're in a few states and at the top of the game in the indie division,
Yeah, that's basically the same thing. Just say, because, we're doing our YouTube and things like that, just being, not to steal Cardona's thing, but just being indie gods, man, taking over, collecting belts across the indies and traveling the world and seeing stuff, man. It'd be great.
Nah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys and where you guys go in the next couple of years.
Appreciate it.
I think you guys are going to go win gold.
I can't wait.
I think that's going to be awesome for you guys.
Sir.
Do you guys have any dream opponent for tag teams? Past, present, future?
Ooh.
Do you have
There's
anything?
a lot.
Dream opponents.
There's a lot.
If I could face any tag team ever, it would have to be the Hardy Boys for me. I love Jeff Hardy. And I think, especially if it was like, if we could take, I think the modern day Hardys can still go. But if we take, like the 90s Hardys and put them up against us in a few years, that's something that would have been, an absolute dream of mine. That would have been something so cool. Currently, I would love eventually to get a chance against Fraxium if they're still a thing by the time, we blow up. That would be really cool. And Ampo and Day Jameson from SCW.
Yeah, really.
We've been talking, and I can't wait to finally get that match with Ampo and Day Jameson, and I think it's going to be some good stuff over there.
Yeah, so I was actually going to say Ampo and Day as my number one, just because I'm excited. We've been talking with them for a while, but if I had to go from any team of all time, I'm honestly going Rated RKO. In a TLC match or something of that sort, because those dudes were the two most vicious souls put together.
I'm surprised you didn't go Golden Lovers, honestly.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. No, take everything back. Golden Lovers. I love me Kenny Omega. That sounds weird. I love Kenny Omega and I love Kota Ibushi. And I would actually say Golden Lovers, current, past, or present, because those are my guys. And to be able to wrestle them in Japan, I'd be good. I'd be good from there.
Going to Tokyo Dome, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I love Japanese wrestling so much.
I'm glad you guys said that, because I also watch a lot of Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, nice.
My brother got me into that. I watched a lot of Will Ospreay when he was over there.
Nice.
Absolutely one of my favorites.
Yeah, Trent, we were just talking about that the other day about how Trent loves Ospreay. I really got into New Japan, for about 2016, like right at the end of Styles' run, sort of. And I watched it for a few years, but here recently, I've been really getting into the Lucha Libre scene.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way tag matches go in Mexico. There's not, like, you don't have to make a tag. It's just one man legal at a time. And I think, I was about to say, I think that's a really interesting style and a different take on tag team wrestling. So if there's, one place that I could go to wrestle, it absolutely wanted to be Mexico, because, that sort of, Japan's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I would love to see you guys go as big as you guys possibly can get. Whether it's the big scene like a WWE or an AEW.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or even a Ring of Honor or TNA or something.
Right.
We've been loving TNA
I was about to
recently,
say, TNA
dude.
is currently
TNA's
my
going
favorite production. We've talked about that. If TNA ever calls, that's an absolute yes. That's a historic company right there. Something I've loved since its inception, and I would love to get a chance in TNA in the future.
Hey, I'm a big believer in dreams coming true. So
Sure.
I think if you guys keep dreaming, that's a big possibility for you
Absolutely.
guys.
Sir, we appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Now, I know you guys said you guys refed a couple times now for SCW. Have you had any fan involvement? Any funny stories for that?
We actually, the other day, I think it was Ted that was reffing the match with Schizo, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, we had another referee, TNT Ted Williams. He was reffing a match of Schizo versus Day Jameson. And Schizo just started going. He's always been an insane dude. I mean, he comes out with all kinds of face paint, and he comes out in like a jail suit. I don't know if he's fully there in the head. He's kind of crazy.
He is a crazy
but
guy.
He starts taking out everybody, security, mauling Day after the match. So we tried to go out there and, get him to calm down and back him off. Well, he did not appreciate that even a little bit. And he smacked us both in the face, and we both, he's a big dude. So we both went flying out through the second rope and both took pretty hard floor bumps. And I don't know if you experienced it, but I heard several people being like, "Get up, ref, get up." And, people do not like when you are not doing your job as a referee.
No, and when you're a ref and you're out there, you're not supposed to be the center of attention. And I was reffing the opening match the other day, and everyone in the crowd was involved with these wrestlers except for these two guys. And they're sitting there, and they just keep calling me Shaggy over and over and over again. No matter what I did, man.
Did not
They're
care
just
about
sitting
the match.
there. No, didn't care about the match. They were just so focused on me. And, I can't turn around and tell them to, shut up or anything like that. Like, I have to stay focused on the match. So I'm just hoping eventually they stop harassing me as the ref and start focusing on the match. Harass the heel or something, man. Don't get me.
They're like, nah, we want the ref.
Anybody but me, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
So outside of wrestling, what are your guys' hobbies or interests?
For me, my big one is the gym. And then here recently, it's been video games, Minecraft especially. And, WWE 2K25 just dropped, and I've already beat the My Rise. We got it early, so it's not even officially out yet, and I've already beat the first play of My Rise. So
yeah, that's insane.
My big ones are, I'd say, the gym and gaming, and then, with it getting nicer out, just going outside and doing anything, because I love being outside. I think it's great for the mental, and it's obviously great for, inside and stuff like that, and, health-wise, and that's really it. I'm just a simple guy. I like to wrestle, play games, and chill with my family. So,
yeah, for me, my biggest hobbies, other than wrestling, like he said, definitely include gaming. I love retro gaming. I love current day gaming. Basically, anything I can get my hands on, I'm gonna play. Another thing I love doing is something I've been doing since I graduated, and I just recently got him into it this year too, is coaching for football, for 7th and 8th grade football. We coach for New York Catholic, which is our alma mater, and luckily I got a chance straight out of high school to go and coach the 7th and 8th grade, which that was before I started training. So I really thought coaching was going to be my path of what I did to, what I put all my effort into. And I still put all my effort into it when it's time, but wrestling's kind of taken over a little bit. But yeah, coaching, absolutely. That's something I look forward to every year, and I think about it a lot. It's just, like I said, overtaken by wrestling a little bit, but...
Now, if you guys weren't wrestlers, do you know what you think you'd be doing outside of this?
So I'm actually, if for whatever reason wrestling doesn't work out, which I think it will, but I'm actually in school to be a social worker, because I think it's really important mental health has always been a big thing for me, especially as someone who struggled with it, and being able to give outreach and assistance to people that need it. And, just even if it's a counselor sense or someone, like who is older and is struggling with something, going back or getting off a treatment or something, and, you get a social worker appointed to them. You hear a lot of stories of social workers stealing from people, being rude to people, and it literally breaks my heart, because I like to help people in any way that I can. I work at Giant Eagle right now, part-time, and when I tell someone where the potatoes are and they find it, it makes me feel good. So, being able to help people in any way that I can is something that I find, very, very important to me. And so even if, wrestling does work out and I don't do the social work thing, I want to find other ways to give back to people and help people as much as I can.
Yeah, mine's basically the same thing. There's always a plan B, which is, in my mind, a plan C. Don't worry, I'm not Seth Rollins.
That's it.
But there's always a plan B, which in my mind, it's further back. Wrestling is the only thing I'm really driven towards. But college, I am going to be a high school history teacher. So I love history, and I feel like I had a lot of good teachers throughout my time in high school and, elementary school, middle school. But I also had a lot of bad teachers that I don't feel like necessarily did what they were supposed to do and let some kids slip through the cracks. And I don't want to see that happen to kids. So definitely, teaching is my backup plan. So yeah.
Good deal. Now, this is the part of the interview that I've officially ran out of my questions. So if you guys have anything you want to say to the camera, be more than welcome. You guys have a social media handle. I know you guys have Instagram.
Yes, sir.
If you guys want to shout it out, you're more than welcome to do that as well.
So, yeah, it'd be cool to plug everything.
Go ahead.
Instagram.
Plug everything you want.
First, I'll give my personal Instagram. It's just R Trent Levy for Regulating Trent Levy. And then
I'm R Tyler Levy on Instagram.
And then we also have TikTok. We just started a TikTok. I can't actually remember the name of it.
I know on Instagram it's the Regulators PW for the Regulators Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way. We need to get like a Linktree thing.
We really do.
Then we also have our YouTube, which is
actually, if you go to my Instagram, R Tyler Levy, there is a Linktree that'll take you to TikTok. At least my TikTok, but there's a connection to his TikTok and our group TikTok in there.
We should have had this figured out.
Yeah, we should have. And there is also a link to our YouTube channel. We're posting multiple times a week. We got a few videos locked in.
The _Regulators, right?
Well, that's our main thing, but our name is actually the _Levy.
We have enough videos now where if you want to find us and you look up the Regulators, Trent and Tyler Levy, we usually pop up on YouTube in some fashion.
Or Life of a Levy. That one works too.
Yeah, Life of a Levy.
And just before we get off of here, where would you be able to go watch an SCW show? Because a lot of people might not be from Ohio that watch. So
So unfortunately, they don't necessarily do a lot of out-of-state stuff. Mostly it's at the Zanesville Civic Center here in Zanesville. And we have a couple shows where we move around a little bit. We go to a lot of festivals when it gets nicer out. We travel to Baltimore, Ohio.
Yeah. There's, it's central Ohio really that we travel in, but there's not really a YouTube that you can watch it on, at least not yet. Hopefully by the time, we get in there, we do have someone that is going to film our matches. So all of our matches will at least be on there. But for right now, check out SCW Wrestling on Facebook. They do post clips and they sometimes post matches on there. Plus there's ways to find every single wrestler from SCW who also usually post their own match on Facebook or on YouTube. So there's a lot of different ways that you can find it. It's just kind of challenging. But like I said, go check out SCW's Facebook page and Southern Championship Wrestling Ohio. And then you'll be able to watch basically whatever you need, whatever you can find, really.
I appreciate it, boys. And I appreciate you guys coming out to the show. You guys, this was your first podcast, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And this was our first podcast with actual athletes. So
awesome.
I appreciate you guys. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, man. It was an honor. Thank you, for real.
Before we go, we should also give one more shout out. I'm sorry for this being late. Shout out Cody Reaper, our trainer, because he's the one that got us to where we are. Shout out to Misty and Tommy because they're the owners of SCW. And most importantly, shout out Paul Harley because, I actually wanted to work this into conversation, but I didn't think about it. Sorry, I'm doing this late.
You're good.
Paul Harley was the one who actually agreed to train us while I was still going through my senior year of high school. And he unfortunately passed away before we even got the chance to meet him. And luckily, his wife and his daughter took over the company, and Cody and them decided they would still train us and stuff like that. So, we're very thankful for Cody, Misty, and Tommy, obviously. But without Paul, we would have never even got started with anything, and we never even got to meet him, let alone say thank you. So that's why we're repping that black and pink that SCW is represented as, because, that's just our one way of saying thank you. So I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody in that family and a shout out to Cody Reaper.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to have to second that. You said it perfectly, brother.
All right. Well, that's a great speech for all you guys.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
Like I said, appreciate you guys showing up.
Oh, thank you for having us, man.
And
it was an honor. This is awesome.
That is it for us. That was Changing the Game. This was Trent and Tyler, and we are out. Peace.
Thank you.